the specific
turn our attention to Mr. Juan Sebastian Gonzalez, Deputy Secretary of Information Technology at Medellín. I hope I pronounced everything correctly.
Yeah, that's okay.
I believe he has a presentation for us. I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sharing the screen. Can you tell me, guys, when you can see it? Okay, great. Okay, Medellín is a data-driven city. So we implemented several tools and information systems in order to collect data about our citizens and the situation of our city in order to face the pandemic, about the pandemic of the coronavirus. So as you can see, we have several dashboards here. Several dashboards where we monitor and control the situation of the coronavirus in each of the districts of the city and in each of the neighbors, discriminated by different demographic data like the age and so on. We have also monitoring about the availability of ICUs and other hospital resources in the city. So in real time, everything is in real time. So we monitor the status of the current situation in order to take decisions. Everything is data driven, and that's why we implemented all these several tools that are mostly where we are mostly interested in collecting data mostly in real time. Okay, when the pandemic started, we had the first challenge. Okay, we had to request the people to stay at home in quarantine. So, but how we can guarantee that the people stay at home? Many people that couldn't work couldn't have food as well, because many people, if they didn't work one day, they couldn't eat that day as well. So we had this challenge. So, we implemented this tool that is called Medellín Me Cuida, which is, with the translation, Medellín takes care of me, which is a big data solution. So everything is regarding technology and information. It's a big data solution where we cross the main databases of the local and national governments in order to identify what were the families that lived in Medellín and which of these families didn't have any economic benefit from any of the programs of the local or national governments. But this information was not enough, yeah, because with this information we could identify the people or the vulnerable families that were always vulnerable. But what happened with all those like micro entrepreneurs, these people that had the small restaurants, they got bankrupt. Yeah, so we need to ask in real time to these people what was their situation, their economic and their health situation. So we created this platform, Medellín Me Cuida. We requested this information to the people, some demographic data, some data about their health situation and economic situation. And we started giving some benefits, some economic benefits and some food benefits, because we were the first city in Colombia and one of the first cities in Latin America that started giving this economic support to the people. And this was a very good decision, because this helped people to stay at home, and this reduced the number of people or contacts in the city. So the containment was very good thanks to this, because we gave the proper support to the people in a proper time. So as you can see here in the map, this is the geolocalization of all the families that we provided benefits, economical benefits, and also food support. We understood that not all the people had enough skills to use the digital tools. So with the coordination with the social inclusion secretary, we also went to each of the neighbors personally to identify those families and those social groups that probably couldn't have access to digital tools, say homeless, say migrants. We have a very political complex situation here in Latin America, mostly with Venezuela. We have a lot of migrants from Venezuela, that came to our city for a better quality of life. So we went also to those neighbors to provide them food and support, and also to help them to register in Medellín Me Cuida a platform, because in that way we could monitor then their situation during the rest of the pandemic. So here you see like some dashboard where we can identify, we can monitor and control all the benefits that we have provided, not just from the local government, but also from the national government. As you can see, everything is monitored, and we have a specific control of who we are giving these benefits. We have another situation, one challenge. So the policy here is nobody left behind. We are helping everyone, regardless of gender, regardless of political view, regardless. So there is no racism here. We also had a challenge at the beginning, which basically our main emergency line collapsed. So we had to implement some tools with artificial intelligence in order to provide information to the people about the coronavirus. There was a lot of miscommunication, misinformation, and people was getting crazy about it. And we didn't want those people to collapse the hospitals. So we had to implement some automatic voice bots with artificial intelligence to provide this information. We geolocalize also those calls that the people were doing to this main emergency telephone line. And we also discriminated those people, by demographic data, but also by their symptoms. So here in this the dashboard, you can see the heat map, or what are the regions or areas in the city more critical. So with this, we could identify what were the areas with more risk to have outbreaks. And this helped us to implement geolocalized quarantines in order to prevent those outbreaks to be bigger and bigger. We are monitoring in real time the availability of ICU in the hospital. We did a great job, and we also, with the support of our innovation center, which is called Ruta N, and some support of some university, we are creating our own ventilators, mechanical ventilators, because we have a lack of ventilators, so we didn't have enough ICU. That's why our contention plan was very strong from the beginning. So we double the capacity of ICUs, and we are still producing mechanical ventilators. And we are monitoring the ICUs and on real time in order to take decision on how to proceed with the economic reactivation and so on. Here you can see as well, we are monitoring real time the geolocalizing the ambulances and the hospital in order to manage in a better way, in a proper way, the transfer of the patients from their homes to the hospital, to the closest hospital with the available resources that those patients have. Here we are geolocalizing all the coronavirus active cases, and in this way we take decisions, or for example, geolocalized quarantines. Here, depending on the colors, you see, for example, purple is the last ones, yeah? And in that way we take decisions. We are monitoring, as I said, the coronavirus situation in each neighbor, in each district, and we take decisions. Also the availability of the ICU resources. We have here, when we had to reactivate the economy, we implemented another platform which is called Medellín Me Cuida companies, where we requested the companies to register their employees and to register a biosecurity protocol that was accepted or rejected by our health secretary. And in that way, we led these companies to start working again. So everything monitored, everything very controlled. So 150,000 companies registered, and we have around 1.5 million people that are allowed to work at the moment, but everything is controlled. Our police hands-on devices that are connected to this platform in order to let or to allow people or to you know, to walk in the streets and everything. This is in real time. They use some devices. Everything is based on technology. We cross data also with the transportation, and in order to see if there are people that should be in quarantine, but they are not respecting the quarantine. And we also implemented for the shopping center. This is the last one. A shopping center, this platform, a Equidad shopping center, where they register every person that goes into the shopping center, and this lets us do a better epidemiological fence, because we are monitoring where the people are getting the contacts. This is pretty much, I'm conscious of the time, so and thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, lots of questions have arisen. You were speaking at the beginning of a number of benefits that the city was providing to different people, and you know, obviously great data that you all did. How long will those benefits last? Do you foresee?
Yeah, exactly. So we are giving like every month some benefits, but it depends, because we are not giving every time to all the people. For example, the people that started working, we are not giving more benefits. When we do, for example, a geolocalized quarantine that we need to close on a specific neighbor, we provide benefits, economic benefits and food benefits to these people. At the beginning was everyone, but now it depends of, you know, what is the area that is closed, that they cannot work. You get what I mean?
Right. So they're not universal benefits. It's on a need and kind of a case by case basis based on the area in which you reside mostly and your work status. Interesting.
Exactly.
Okay. And it's interesting because part of the difficulty that there are in many areas of the world is actually agglomerating that data and getting all the data that you have obtained. And one of our participants was wondering, the surveys that you ran, what percentage of responses did you get? How did you manage to get such quality data to work from?
Yeah, we did a very great job. Actually, we have around 2.5 million people in Medellin, and the metropolitan area is around 4 million people, and we have now registered 3.5 million people, which is pretty much 90% of the population of the metropolitan area. We got around 700, as you can see here in the numbers, 700 families that we gave benefits. So we are giving, I mean, why we are giving these benefits in a proper way? Because we are giving benefits to families, not to people. You get what I mean? So, and we are monitoring this with devices. When we went to the neighbors and people were asking us for benefits, we check if that family already received benefits from the local or from the national government. In the way we distribute better, you know, the resources. And that's why we cover most of the population with this benefit. So this is a lot of big data, quality of data, and deciding properly, taking proper decision based on data that let us give this benefit and distribute better, you know, the money that the municipality has.
Was there a legal mandate for you to be able to get such a high response rate, or was it just a willingness for people to respond and participate?
Well, we did a great job when it comes, because when we consider the technical feasibility of this platform, we also consider the legal feasibility of this platform. So everything is written properly. We comply with the habeas data, which is pretty much like the GDPR privacy law that there is in Europe. So everything was written, everything was communicated properly. So this created trust, you know. It's clear that many people didn't have the skills to know about the digital platforms. So we had to create or sensitize people about this digital platform, about the power of the data, letting them know that we will use this data to help them, to provide them benefits, and to look after them and to monitor their health situation.
Yeah, it's That's fascinating. I'm kind of at a loss for words for how much data you've been able to accumulate. That's great. So moving on, maybe for the innovation side to maybe more of a legal or a feasibility side in getting all this data and putting in place all these policies. Were there any specifically challenging elements to accomplishing this? And if so, what? Well, I'm assuming the answer is going to be yes. What are they?
Yeah, we have a lot of challenges there because, you know, the opposition, most the opposition of the government, they starting talking about that data was going to be used for commercial purposes or for political purposes. So we had to invest in very good communication to the people, because when we, for example, we were creating or building the epidemiological fences, some people actually told us that they wouldn't give us that information. They wouldn't give us which contact they had. So we couldn't create actually the epidemiological fences because they thought that this data would be used for commercial purposes, and that they would start receiving a lot of marketing, communication and stuff. So this was a difficult challenge, but I mean, people really trust the government, and people finally understood that we are helping. We are transparent here. As you can see, these dashboards are open. So we are transparent because we use open data, and the people can see this data, so they can take decisions. Entrepreneurs, we have also open data for entrepreneurs to create solutions. So we are very transparent government, and this help a lot to create trust on the people.
Okay, great. And were there any legal challenges, or was it mostly political?
Yeah, there were legal challenges. People complained. We have a very powerful legal team here that manage all those complaints. I don't know how to say to be honest in English, but yeah, there were these complaints of 3 groups of people. I mean, we did pretty well from the beginning, so we managed to sort it out.
Okay. Interesting. One question about the process of your follow-up. So I'm trying to follow a flow here, right? You're getting that information. There's some challenges around the world. Then when you've got that information and you send that aid to someone, what kind of a follow-up and what kind of an update is done to that information, right? You go in and you help someone. There's a beneficiary. You want to update the status. What's the process like there in order to follow up? Because then in the information at the beginning is one thing, making sure that it's up to date, 3, 4, 5 months later, and in the event of a second wave, that's a whole other question. So how is that done?
I really love those questions, because those are the challenges that we really have here, and we managed to sort them out. So basically we have automatic tools that are sending SMS messages, WhatsApp messages, phone call messages to the people to monitor their health status. So we collect that information, and we also have a team of doctors that are calling the people. I mean, not everyone, because we cannot call 4 million people every day. So that's why we use automatic tools, and the most critical people, we call them, and we monitor their status and everything in order to prevent them to become or to get in a complex health situation, because then they will occupy an ICU, which is what we don't want. That's why we need to look after them days before they get a very complex health situation, because we don't want them to get an ICU. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's all very useful information. And the response rate on these follow-ups is as high, like in terms of conversions, and you're obviously a tech person. In terms of conversions, are you converting more on the initial inquiries, or are you converting just as well on the follow-ups?
Yeah, well, at on the initial one, because when people, they feel well, they feel okay. So there is no conversion there. Yeah, because they don't answer anymore, because they feel okay, and which is okay for us, you know, if they feel they are okay, we don't need to follow up anymore. But anyway, the doctors, of course, are monitoring. We actually gave to the active and the confirmed cases some devices so they can register in our platform, website, and we teach them how to do it. The level of oxygen, the level of the temperature and everything. Some, you know, some measures of their health situation that they need to be you know, measured with these small devices. Yeah, so that's called oximeter or something like that. Oximeter. So in that way we monitor, and this fire some alarms in case those values are over some top levels that we decided.
Got it. Okay, wow, that was very insightful. Thank you so much, Mr. Gonzalez. A lot of information.